want to
Big
give
smiles, ladies.
I want to give the meaning of it to.
Good evening, everyone. The Charmaine Roll, FIE's Junkanoo Rush, and tonight it's all about the choreographed dancers. I can't say ladies anymore. I got to say the dancers because we have men that are dancing also. And as you can see, we have a variety of ladies. I have to say variety because we got everybody here. We got everybody here. Every group is here present tonight. We'll probably have a few persons coming in as we continue on with our conversation. And tonight, our special guest is Miss Carolyn Vogue Evans, the woman, the one and only, who brought this thing that we call choreograph, where everybody juking and shaking and dancing and dipping on Bay Street. So we're going to start up, we're going to ask Carolyn to introduce herself, and then we're going to let all of the ladies introduce themselves, and then we're going to let Carolyn give us a little history on on how choreograph came to be. Go ahead, Carolyn.
Good evening, everybody. Charmaine, let me take this opportunity to thank you for the wonderful job that you are doing, and also for this opportunity for me to share one of my passions with the Bahamas, and that is Junkanoo and, of course, dance.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to start with the introduction of the girls. We're going to start with Roots. Go ahead.
Good night, everybody. My name is Lakeisha Johnson, dancer for Roots Showtime.
Next
Good
person.
evening, good evening, everyone. My name is Lakeisha Bostwick, former choreographer for Colors Junkanoo organization.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Karen Pindermoney, and I am the choreographer for Roots Junkanoo Group.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tonya Sampson, and I am the choreograph board chairwoman of Pulse, the choreograph section of Genesis Junkanoo organization.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Anquinella Lang, also known as Tisha, one of the choreograph section leaders from Genesis.
Next, we have anybody else from Valley?
Good evening, Sadira Makito Lavarity Cooper from the Valley Ladies International, choreograph board.
Hey.
Sadira Makito Lavarity Cooper.
Oh, name me. Yeah, say that again, please. I missed that.
Sadira Makito Lavarity Cooper.
Oh my God. Okay. We have Saxons next.
Good evening, all. My name is Myra Bosby.
Okay.
One of the choreographers and on the choreograph committee of the Valley Ladies International.
The Valley Ladies International. Wow. Next, we have Saxons. Jerry, are you there? Go ahead, Jerry.
Hello.
Introduce yourself, please. Hi, Jerry.
I'm good. How y'all doing? My name is Jerry Pierre. I'm from the Saxon Superstars. I'm the lead choreographer for the Saxons.
Okay, it's just you and Jerry, or you have someone with you?
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure he's not. I have Giorno, but I don't see where is he.
Okay, well, he can join us as we go along.
Okay.
Join in the conversation. Okay, ladies, welcome all of you to FIE's Junkanoo Rush.
Come in, you forget.
Oh, I forget the ants nest. Girl, sting me. Sting me. Go ahead, next. I feel that one. Go ahead.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Anishka Fernanda, and I am a part of the wonderful One Family Choreograph section. And I have with me one of my PR reps, and I will let her introduce herself.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Bahamas, those who are joined in on Facebook. My name is Kayandra Gardner, and I am a part of the Public Relations Committee of One Family Choreograph Dancers. Glad to be here tonight.
Okay. Everybody? Get everybody. Oh, Papa. My God, that's my co-host, y'all. Y'all see, my head little jam tonight. Go ahead, Pops.
Good night, everybody.
That's it. And of course, my extraordinary, my producer, Mr. Jason Ming Ferguson. Okay, Carolyn, you can go ahead and give us an idea. Take us down memory lane on how Choreograph was started in the Junkanoo world when it first came to Bay, and which group bought it first.
Thank you, Charmaine. But before I start, I just wanted to point out, first of all, for the listening audience, we all know dance is the rhythmic movement to music. And we know when we perform those movements and the sequence steps, it is the choreography. Now, choreographer is the person. Choreography is the verb, and choreograph is the art form, so to speak. Showtime is a name that the great Paul Knowles came up with. Paul was a visionary in Junkanoo, and he was a game changer for many aspects of Junkanoo, not only in the movement aspect of it. We started out in the Valley, but we didn't quite have what you know now as Showtime. There was movement, there were women, there was movement. And so when we broke away from the Valley, I think it was, Karen, you said it was around
1991.
Right. Now, the concept of Showtime is the brainchild of Paul Knowles, who wanted to display his beautiful designs with movement. And so we collaborated a lot. That is one of the things that I hope still continues in Junkanoo, in that when the costume designers design, the person in charge of the performing section should sit with that designer, so that when they are coming up with the ideas, the movement will be able to be executed properly. That's the first thing. And so that is what made Paul and I such a good team. If you were to review some of the first recordings, you will note that Showtime, Roots Showtime, is separate and apart than what you see today, if you look at what it was. For me, once he would have told me what he was interested in and he had confidence in my ability, obviously my background is theater. And so to me, the performing part of a group is movement to convey the theme. And it should always be that. Now, I know that you guys sometimes put in modern moves and what have you, but that's another story, another day. But it was my idea that there should be theater on Bay Street, that the movement should be cohesive and in conjunction with the costuming, whatever the theme is, the movement should tell the story. And that was the background in which Roots Showtime would have begun. When we started, there were popular movement. I can't remember what was going on then, Karen. What was the popular movement? But the point was, you might throw one or two steps in there. But in my mind, the performance section was to convey the theme through movement. And that was how Showtime began. Now, it obviously took Nassau by storm because all of the other groups then began to do the same thing. And I understand, I'm glad to know that the other performing groups have their various name, because I was a little concerned, Showtime is synonymous with Roots, of course. Now, for me as an artist, it was important that the other groups have their performing sections as well. It was a way for Junkanoo to grow. It was a way for Junkanoo to go to the next level for the new generation, for young people to take it to another level. And so here we are, we have the great performing sections of Junkanoo. Is there anything
Well, there you
you
have
wish
it,
me
folks.
to? Sorry?
Go ahead, Carolyn.
Okay. I also wanted to point out that because of my theatrical background, the early roots dancers understood that. And so as different people, came on board, how should I put it, the flavor changed. But roots maintain its core crew. For example, you see Miss Munnings is there, Karen, and she is not only my friend and like a daughter, but she's also my student. And at the time when the choreograph sections began, a lot of the persons who led those sections would have come not only out of roots or somehow would have been connected to me in some way. But now I see all of these beautiful faces and new names. I'm going to be watching and looking out more for them because this is exciting, all new, young, wonderful persons. And of course, Jerry, you don't know me, but I've watched you. I've watched you. And so it tells me that the thing is evolving. Now, Junkanoo today, I see the choreograph section, it's steady. I would like to see more theme orientated as opposed to popular pleasing, but ever so often there's a fantastic performance that just blows my mind, which tells me that the young people are working and they understand what it is that they're supposed to be doing in this very important part of Junkanoo, the performing section. I think I'll stop right there now, unless there's a specific question about the history.
Well, thank you so much for that history lesson. I never really knew how choreographs started on Bay Street. I know it was a lot of free dancers, and then I noticed that when Roots came over that first show time, it was like you were in Le Cabaret Theater. Actually, I always felt like I didn't have to go over the bridge. All I had to do was wait until Roots show up, and I know that was show time. But now,
and don't forget, and let me add to the young people, whatever is in your mind and you want to create, go ahead and do it. Because when I went on Bay Street, the Saxon girls had us piled in the corner because we were scared of Saxons. And they was telling me, get that ballet, you know what, off of Bay Street. So that tells you. So see what is happening now? So never be afraid to try out your idea and display it. Because if I was frightened, hey, I don't know where we would be. Go ahead.
Well, I've noticed over the years, Carolyn, the choreograph section, ladies, you can answer. You take your time and just hold up your hand when you want to speak for me, please, so all of us don't really speak at the same time. And if you're watching persons out there, go ahead and share the video. FIE Junkanoo Rush is in full effect with choreograph. And listen, like I tell them, ain't nothing happen until the girls reach, eh? Or the dancers reach, because Jerry, forgive me for that one. Ain't nothing happen until the girls reach. Now, I noticed for a couple of years, this thing, now Labor Day is supposed to be Friday coming, y'all. We ain't gonna be on the road, but we gonna have a rush, trust me. We gonna have our little bing here tonight, and we gonna have something going on for Labor Day. But Labor Day seems to be the opening, it's the beginning of the Junkanoo season. And child, listen, I be waiting to see when the gals can bust off on Bay, because to me, y'all is bust off better Labor Day than y'all is bust off Boxing Day. Y'all is come stepping in these outfits and things, man. I be like, boy, these gals, I don't know. I don't know who trying to outdo the two, and they don't even have a prize for that. So I just think it's the esteem and the feeling of the spirit to know that this is the beginning of the Junkanoo season, and let there, we gotta step out and bling and make everybody eyes turn. So ladies, let's speak to that about how do you decide, first of all, the question is answered. how do you get to join a choreograph section? Who want to go first? Hi, Shavanya.
Hi, how are you?
Jerry? Thank you. Go ahead, Jerry.
Oh, I can go.
Jerry, unmute your mic, please.
Hello, could you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. Tell us
All
how
right.
do you get to join a actually Saxon's choreograph section?
Well, what we do is we do auditions every year. And last year, what we did is that we tried to get more younger people into it than, mostly you'll find that persons who take part in Junkanoo, they go by friends. So if I have a friend and mostly my friend might be in my age bracket. So what I try to do is I just have an open audition for all dancers, all age. The age starts from 12 years old, goes up to 35. That's our cutoff age, 35. So the oldest person on the parade for the Saxon choreograph is me.
Why are you laughing?
I feel we do that, and then I just try to find persons who get that energy. Once you get that energy, and we look for persons who I can feel that you have a good attitude. So sometimes it takes a while for a person's attitude to come out. So, and then I let you know I give you a whole month time. So if you're up the pot, then you'll go. If you're not, then I'll have to cut you off or put you into another section in the group. So you might have to free dance or carry you off the shoulder, something like that. So that's how we do it at the Saxon. Yeah.
Go ahead, Keandra.
So in One Family, for our choreograph section, we definitely do auditions, and it's usually very early in the year to make sure that we have one of the best showcases, like you said, at the start of the season, which is the Labor Day Parade. And while we do auditions that early in the year, the thing for us is it's an ongoing process. You would have noticed over the years that with our section, we have began to develop more of an all-inclusive type program. So while it is about the dance and what it is that we put out on Bay Street for whatever side parade or main parade it is, it's important for us to develop the women that become a part of our section. So we go beyond just the basics of your dance ability. We definitely also look at your spirit, your ability to be a part of a team, because at the end of the day in Junkanoo, and particularly in the choreograph section, it's not about one particular dancer. We are supposed to be one unified unit, making sure that steps are almost identical to each person along with their personality. So we have to make sure that our dancers are able to fit within the mold of the women we're trying to develop within One Family choreograph dancers. And so the process is ongoing, even though we start early in the year. Like I said, we still continue that process through about the August period of time of year, because once we get past that point, we are definitely looking to make sure for the Boxing Day and New Year's Day parades, we have the best showing possible. So this year, of course, is going to look a little bit different for what we do in our recruitment process, simply because of the parameters that COVID has placed us in. But you will definitely be hearing more from One Family related to what we do in our recruitment process coming up.
Okay. Karen?
Okay, but ours is a little different. We start, unless the theme calls for a younger group, we start at age 16, preferably 18. Reason being, sometimes shows are called at different functions and they only allow adults. So we don't start as young as 12. Going to the age of 35, that's also not a cutoff. We have some energized bunnies over the age of 35. And sometimes it's good to have the younger crowd, and it's always good to recruit. It's always good to have the younger generation. However, there's nothing like experience. And we've experienced that over the years. We like to say, let's be our brothers or mothers or whatever keeper. We have no problems with that. I prefer to have a mixture of both the youth and the not so youthful. It lends for good combination, and we help each other. We start in the month of April because, as you know, we would have been performing for Labor Day. So we start in the month of April. We start to rehearse, work out, and get our group together. This year is going to be a little different, like Kayandra just said, because of the parameters of the COVID-19. So this forces us into a position of auditions can't be so hard and fast because we have the time factor won't allow us to go through the whole process of an audition. However, you have your core of ladies that stay with you in the trenches throughout the year. They are automatically there. Now, we have ladies from last year who came in late on the program, or ladies who just didn't meet the mark yet, but want to come on this year. Those are the ones that we would contact, because we told them as soon as things get started, once we'll contact, get them going, and we'll all come to the road. Now, next year when we start again, we will do the whole thing from the beginning. You know, the whole auditioning process, get girls ready. It's just the time right now won't allow us to go through the whole auditioning process because of the this COVID-19 thing. But other than that, we would have been getting ready for Labor Day. We would have been getting ready for Independence. And this year, you know, it's quite exciting for Roots Showtime. We have a new, young, innovative team. We can't wait to get to the road to show our stuff. We have a new leader. Her name is Lakeisha Johnson, and she's here with us this evening. I'm going to let her say a few words. She is quite the energetic, energized, ever-ready bunny. And we're looking forward to showcasing our new team. We have a lot of new young faces, a lot of new young energized ladies. We can't wait to get to the road. We're very excited. We are very excited and can't wait to come to the road. We have some fresh ideas and we want to show them. So Keisha, introduce yourself and let them see our new face for Showtime.
Hey everybody, again, my name is Lakeisha Johnson, and yes, I am Roots Showtime chairman. Like Ms. Pinder said, for our board, we've really done a lot of changes, so get ready for new things coming to the road, new ideas, a lot of energy, and most of all, teamwork. So we can't wait to get out on the road and see what everybody has to bring to the table.
Sonia?
Pulse has the same audition process. We normally go twice per year. The first one, what we would call the summer session for Labor Day Independence, and the second one we would call the fall session, which would be around August time. After your probation, after your audition, you would go into a probation period. And this is where we feel out your personality. So while you may have passed the dance portion, we still want to find out if you're a good match for the section, because Choreograph spends a lot of time together, especially when you come down to the big parades. You are spending more time with your section than you are with your family. So you have to have girls, you have to have women that can gel, that can mesh, that can help one another. So during that probation period, we feel you out, we make sure you're a good fit for the team. And we have, well, like everyone said, the COVID-19 has really changed the way you would normally do things. But whenever they say the road is open, whatever way they say the road is going to be open, Pulse will be ready to attend.
Okay, Perez?
Good evening all again. Like many other sections, the Valley Ladies, we also have auditions. We typically have those prior to the Labor Day Parade around April, and we start preparing from there for the whole season. So once our season begins, we usually don't have another audition. If they're interested, young ladies, they come and it's based on their previous dance experience, previous Junkanoo experience. We might allow them to join the section. But typically we only have one audition process, and you usually get an audition by our public relations team, sends out flyers. We usually do a video. The group itself usually does a public relation release when we decide to have auditions. So it's a process that we begin in April, but it's ongoing, and it it is about to change, like everyone else mentioned, because of our present circumstances.
Good night. Charmaine, I'd like to add that there is nothing in this world like Junkanoo. It is a spirit, and it is something that everyone from all walks of life can just jump into, and it just pulls you in. And so while all of us have
I'd
our
like I just like to add, as you're speaking, I see you as one of the front line faces in Choreograph. Every time I look at a picture from Choreograph, all I can see is your smile.
I love it to
Every
death.
picture I go to, either when you was in One Family or Valley Boys, every time I see Choreograph, I always see that smile. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. As soon as you're finished, we will talk to some of the aspects of what to do with Choreograph. So who we're missing now? Anybody else? Oh, welcome, Jonathan. Jonathan, are you there? Jonathan Stirrer? Jonathan? Hi, Jonathan. How are you? Introduce yourself, please.
Hi, so my name is Jonathan Stirrup, and I am one of the co-choreographers for SSC, which would be the Shell Stocks and Superstars choreograph section. I work along with Mr. Pierre, Mr. Jerry, and together we are a team.
Okay, Jonathan, thank you so much, Miss Shavonia Tornquist. Miss Tornquist, which group are you from?
Hi, I am Shavonia Tornquist. I am with Colors.
Okay.
And we also have our, actually we have 2 auditions. We have one like around April, and then we'll have another one like September, October, we'll have another one. Because we still have, people that wants to come in and wants to join the group. And most persons, like during the Christmas time, they work nights, especially for entertainers. So sometimes we have, people that want to do Christmas, and some wants to do Boxing Day, and some wants to do New Year's. So I try to leave way for that to happen. And I am new at Colors. I'm taking over from Lakeisha Bostwick.
Okay. All right. Well, welcome and congratulations on your new position.
Thank you.
And just to add to Shavonia's comment, Colors normally does not participate in the Labor Day parade. So our audition process for most of our girls, once they've auditioned in April, is for them to rush in the Independence Parade with us and to see how, just to get an overview. That's normally when and leading the section before Shavonia took over, I would normally take a back seat. And the back seat for me is rushing the back line on the brass, so I can carry on bad. And so I can observe what's happening out front and see, and give those who have auditioned tips as to where we're going from here and what they need to work on. So when we do get back into the Junkanoo spirit and back into the actual preparing for Bay Street, they know what they need to work on, they know what we're going to be working on, and they know the amount of work they're gonna have to put out in order for them to make both parades.
Yes, but we actually, for me, we don't have that age drop off, like how some of them were saying 35. Of course, you can tell that I'm not 35, I'm over 35, I'm over 40 and over 45.
You're seasoned, Shavonia.
I am nicely seasoned. That's right.
Right.
Yeah, man. Let me ask a real quick. Let me get a real quick question in there. Good night, ladies. Once again, how important is it to have past experience in dance? I heard one or two of you mention the fact that you look for that as a requirement when it comes later on. How important is that for the overall?
Can I get in that one first, Kevin? So to be very honest with you, I'm going to start with that one. To be honest with you, it isn't necessary for you to have past experience in dance. If you're a choreographer, like for example, I was in the National Dance School when Carolyn Vogt was on her point shoes, and I was a child when she was there, and she was in the point class, and I always wanted to be on point shoes. I was also in National Dance School when Karen Pinder was on her point shoes. So, and understand, you understand, I was there when Siobhan came through those doors also. So our experience in dance is very different from a lot of these ladies. But if you have a passion for it, if you're a choreographer, if you're a teacher, you can definitely teach anyone to, you're creative enough to teach anyone to dance, and definitely to express with this cultural expression of ours that we love so much called Junkanoo.
Exactly, exactly.
Well, for me, that adds to the point I went to share, which was because of how unique and the way Junkanoo is, dance experience, yes, I feel as a leader is important because you have that insight and that input from the different genres. Myself, I've done ballet for 4 years and I've done Junkanoo for 20 plus years. And I've had dancers that have no dance experience. Yes, they may be able to do the latest reggae dance or any other latest dance, but when you give them these steps, they are unable to keep them together. And so, like Lakeisha said, it's a passion because I would stay back, I would come early, whatever it is that needs to be done for them to get this, they're going to get this. And so I like that because I see it as a challenge, and I also see it as a chance for me to share with the passion that I have with someone else that does not have dance experience.
You know, one of the things that I'm always accused of, is choreography. The girls always say to me, I am not a ballet dancer. This is not a ballet piece. Listen, as an artist, as someone who's been dancing all of their lives, we can't help it. We'll do something, we can't help but show our techniques. And so many times I get fussed at, rolled over, Karen, this is not ballet. We're not doing ballet on Bay Street. But I'll tell you, it enhances our dancing. You can definitely see a difference between someone who has who danced all their lives and who doesn't. There is definitely a difference, especially pertaining to what the theme may call for. If there's a theme that calls for something that shows technique, most definitely. If you have a theme of technical dancing, it will stand out for sure. So, and we do have the ones who's never danced before with the two left feet, no problem. If you're a good choreographer, you can make a dance out of them. But again, a good balance. You have the ones who can dance, the ones who's challenged to do it. So it makes for a fine balance. We have no problems, and of course, we turn away no one.
If I may, I can't, my picture's not up there, so I'm sorry, the video is off, so I can't show my hand, this roll. What I wanted to share with them, Karen and Siobhan would recall that we had dance classes for Junkanoo. And so one of the things I wish to advise you, if you're having this encounter with persons, is to include in your curriculum a day or days for dance classes. Not only does it keep the groups together, but it gets you to teach dance to persons who might not necessarily have a specific technique.
Yes, Carolyn is so right about that, because I know during my warm-ups, I do across the field or across the floor. We call it across the floor in the dance world. So like kicks and jumps and pointing, I let the girls line up and they will go down each one, pointing their feet or doing, a little chasse across the floor, especially when they can't get a certain step. So of course I'm sure every dance teacher or person who has been in a dance class usually will do this, especially with girls they find that cannot. Even with the free dance, they come and they take that as a warm-up.
Good night. Hi.
And what's also a pet peeve?
Oh, sorry about that.
You wanted to say something? Go ahead, Mister.
Yes. Yes. Having that dance background is a plus with any dancer, like they all said. With choreograph is all about unison, moving as making sure that everybody embodies the movement, and that is how we're judged. So when you have dancers that come into your section that has that experience or that background, that's a plus. For some persons like myself, my background in dance came mainly from doing native shows. I did everything from fire dance. I used to dance with Jeanette George. She was one of the coordinators for Saxons a few years ago. And it is through her training that I was able to pick up on some of the techniques that I can now share and use that experience to pass on to my dancers. I know being a choreographer and passing on those techniques to dancers that are untrained, it can be a bit frustrating because you have already been trained to do something for so many years. And here now you have to now pass on that knowledge in such a short span of time to anywhere from 15 to 60 dancers. And you have to pass on that training to the best of your capabilities. So for me, the experience bringing dancers into the flock is one of the biggest bonuses we have. But at the same time, it is the mindset of the person that we bring into that flock who has to want to have that potential to take on that challenge if they don't have that background. Most people look at choreographed dancers and they're in awe. They like they see the end result. They see the product of our labor. But they when they come into the trenches and they see the sweat and the tears and the moments when we're not smiling for the audience, then they're like, oh, this is really more than I anticipated. And for some people, they may fade away. This may only be a bucket list for some, but for persons who have stuck with it for so many years, this is a passion. This is something that we love. It's in our blood. I started when I was 14. I am now 30 plus, and I'm still at it. We have sweat, we have tears, we have injuries that we have to work our way through. So it has to be a passion from the individual, regardless of the training or not.
Well, like the saying goes, feel it in your belly. And that's what you have to really feel, Junkanoo, in order to experience. Give me one minute, Letitia, to experience that. One of the reasons why my slogan is feel it. In everything in Junkanoo, it's a spirit. And so when you dance, you're dancing to the spirit of your ancestors. You're dancing their feeling. You're dancing for the freedom that they experience to be free. And so that's why I love to see when the choreographed dancers are on time, when they're smiling. One of the things that I did when I was in charge of the parade management training, the judges came underneath me. And in training them to learn how to judge choreograph, one of the main things I always told them is to stand exactly in the front and bend down to the ground. And once you bend down to the ground, you can see whose feet is on time, whose hands is on time, and who is smiling. That's one of the things I always taught them. And so I don't know if you notice sometimes when you're passing, you'll see me bend. I can tell if one hand is off, one foot is off, if who is smiling, who's in zinc. And so, you know, a lot of things I picked up along the way. And I also noticed too, sometimes, you know, when you're performing, you're hurt or you're serious, but you are in a theater. Junkanoo is like a theater. It's telling a story that's beginning to end. And your costume and your energy depicts all of that when you hit Bay Street. One of the things I also wanted to talk about in terms of choreograph, your costuming. Sometimes the costume, how do you choose your costumes? Like Carolyn introduced at the beginning, to fit your theme and your choreograph steps. Because, you know, sometimes the costumes are too heavy. Sometimes you spin and you turn. You know, there's some of the girls, I know a lot of them have back problems of some of the pieces I seen. So how do you come up with who designed the costumes for the choreograph each year? Or how is that decided? You want to go first?
Well, I know from my past experience, costume for choreography has evolved. There were years when the costume looked the size of off-the-shoulder dancers, and we had to perform in them. We had handpiece, we had cloth skirts, we had a cardboard skirt, cardboard front piece, cardboard shoulder piece, backdrop, cardboard hat, and in some essences, a face pants and a t-shirt.
Y'all was all free dancers and off the shoulder thing.
I just want to say back then it was off the shoulder.
Don't forget the decorations.
We were choreographed dancers / off the shoulder dancers.
Yep.
But that back then was what was expected, because Junkanoo back then, persons wanted to be steadfast in the cardboard crepe paper aspect of Junkanoo. But as the years have passed on, and the coordinators of the group have now listened to the voices of the choreographed ladies, as it takes us to go ahead and put together these routines, we need to be able to actually execute them in the attire that is going to complement that routine. It's a wasted effort if you're going to put a dancer who has spent months putting together a routine in something that is going to hinder or restrict their movement. We're being judged based on movement. So anything that is going to hinder or restrict that is going to be at the deficit of that section. So as the years have progressed, our coordinators, our design team has listened to our cries and listened to our concerns. And they have taken that in full stride in putting together the costumes that we now have out on Bay Street. Keandra, you wanted to add something to that?
Yeah, so it's a collaborative effort between the choreograph sections and in One Family, in particular, the design team. So once the group has made a decision on the overall theme and we are advised on, you know, the look and the dynamic, we then go back with the design team to figure out how it works with what it is that we want to portray on Bay Street. If you can recall this past particular Boxing Day parade, a lot of people questioned what it is that One Family brought to Bay Street. And we incorporated a lot of the theatrics Ms. Vogue Evans mentioned, but what helped us was our collaboration with the design team to make sure that we were depicting the characters for which we wanted to display on Bay Street. And that is something that over the years we have developed. And I'm sure for some of the other groups, they go along with their design teams to figure out what works best. But for us nowadays, it's really the lightness, the ability for us to move within our costumes and give the people what they're coming to Bay Street for, which is our performance. No longer are we wearing the heavy costumes that weigh us down. We are now able to give you that dip and juke and all of the stuff that you have become familiar with One Family with. So it's a collaborative effort.
And if I may add to that, it's
Before we go on, I have Miss Antonia. Antonia
spent months on learning a routine, learning choreography, and then you come to the role with this monstrosity on your back. The choreography looks totally different because you cannot perform along. So now that we're also being listened to, scale the costume down, because it was like coming to the road as a free dancer, off the shoulder, honestly. So now we're able to come to the road with smaller costumes. We're able to show our movement. We're able to show our technical side, because in Roots, we love to show technicality. We love to show the techniques of our movement. We have a lot of technical dancers, and for us, that's a pride that I love to boast. I love it. I love to do things out of the box. They call me, I don't know if anybody remembers the cartoon Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah, of course.
Jimmy Neutron, right. They call me Jimmy because I would do a piece of choreography, and as far as they're concerned, it's done. when I go home at night and I lay down on a bed and the brain starts ticking, ticking, ticking. And when I come back the next day and we start to run it and they start to do the choreography, they think it's the choreography. And I say, no, hold on, it's been changed. Jimmy fell asleep last night and something else came to my mind. I'm always trying to do something out of the box. And you can blame Carolyn for that because she was always out of the box, but it lends to so much excitement. You know, when I think of some of the things sometimes that crosses my mind, I can't wait to come and show the ladies and gents what we want to portray on Bay Street, and they're excited to see it. So it lends, once again, there's that balance. It lends to the coming together, and everyone's excited to do it, to perform it. When time to get to Bay Street, and we know that we're going to show these things, and it's different, there's too much excitement in the air. We're just so ready to show our stuff, to strut our stuff. It just lends to the whole bunch of excitement. The costuming, the dancing, the excitement, the crowd. There's nothing like the young lady said, there's nothing like Junkanoo.
And I wanted to add and piggyback off of that. That is like when the synopsis come in and they say, well, this part, the free dance will do this part. The off the shoulders will do this part. Choreograph will do the other part. So when the synopsis comes in for that theme for Boxing Day or New Year's, we look at our costume, we look on whether or not this routine entails kicking, whether this routine, whatever it is that we're doing that year. My choreography usually depicts what it is, what the synopsis is for that year as well.
Excellent. Now,
for me too, it's all about research. Once, like Siobhan said, once that synopsis is out, once you understand what the theme is, it's all about researching exactly what you want your section to look like, and also how you're going to sit down with the design team and make sure that that can happen, so that your choreography that you have, like Karen said, like Anishka said, that you have going on in your mind, so that that choreography can come to life on Bay Street. You know, we talked about the past when the choreograph section was in complete cardboard. I mean, I was with one family at that point, and our skirt used to be on the ground. Like, we used to look like the last Christian soldiers. The white unitard, long sleeve,
two skirts.
White long sleeve unitard, yeah, three skirts.
Three skirts.
Three skirts. You know, so to see the choreograph sections evolve from that, to see the fact that you can actually come to Bay Street if you're depicting something that cowboys, Indians, whatever it is, and come out there and express that. It's all about researching it to the best of your ability as the choreographer, so that your section can look the best, so that your section can depict, so it's seamless from the banner all the way to the last drummer.
Right. And just to let you guys know, always in Junkanoo supposed to always tell a story. A group is supposed to tell a story. How the group lined up is supposed to tell a story. Junkanoo is a story from beginning to end. It's like the alphabet from A to Z. So each section is supposed to tell a story as it passes you on Bay Street. So every section, like you say, if for instance you're doing Disney World. So if every section is doing a different part of Disney World, I'm supposed to be able to sit there and like I'm watching a theater, and the story is just passing me by. And even every girl, like according to your steps, which your theme are, and I notice now, boy, you ought to spend plenty of money on makeup. You ought to spend some serious bucks on it. Listen, when Wally boys come with that Chinese thing,
you have to be a character.
My cousin is a Wally girl. My uncle daughter's dance. Her name is Chrissy. I couldn't find Chrissy for no more than the Man in the Moon. When y'all come with Chinese, she had to touch me, say, cuz this is me, I had to look good. So y'all to spend some serious money on those makeup. What do you guys do to raise funds to help, with all your off parades and them leading up to the major parade.
Charmaine, I just want to add on the costume bit of it, not so much to explain, but just to say that when the judging system changed the 5%, it hurt my heart of the total score of each group as it relates to choreograph because of the time, the money,
Yeah.
and time. I just want to add to that a lot of people do not know as it relates to costuming. I think a lot of people have the idea that the costumes are prepared and just sit pretty there for you and they're picked up, you put it on and you walk on the parade. When there are choreographed sections like ours that go and assist and help to work, and sometimes you're there for hours upon days upon, putting in all of this time. And speaking on not only on the costume and what we can do in the shack as women and as dancers, but also to talk to the fact of, as it relates to the costumes, you want to make sure that the scorecard itself has performance and it has costuming. And so those are the two categories and percentages that they are judging when we hit phase 3. And so for me, I think that needs to be updated. Change is inevitable. Our costumes are changing, Junkanoo is changing, choreography is changing. And so you want to make sure that now the way you judge me for this cultural element that I am putting in, that you are doing it fairly. Because for me, performance and dance, that don't speak to what we do.
Not 5%.
Not 5%. That is not an adequate weighing as it relates to judging.
You're quite right.
Let's hope the persons that make those decisions are watching tonight.
Hopefully, because I couldn't wait to share that.
Go ahead and vote on it. Go, Aquella.
Yes.
Aquella,
Good night, everybody. Again, I just want to speak on the costuming one last time because I got to piggyback off of what Sadira said. I came from Saxons, and my first parade was a Boxing Day. I pulled 2 nights in the shack. I didn't bathe, I didn't sleep, I didn't eat. Because we had to. We don't have no help. Choreograph, you don't have no help. They just prepared one cardboard, and you got to do everything else. And you had to have everything alike. So it was rough for me, my first year in Junkanoo, but I loved it. But I just want to say, when it comes to the costuming and determining the likeness, the uniqueness, each choreograph section feed off of each other. I must say that. And I commend every leader in the choreograph world right now because it is not an easy job. When I bring girls in and they new, and I tell them, you will have people on the side who are telling you, you're dead, you're lazy. They have never been on Bay Street. So I tell them, ignore them. It makes no sense even answering them. I feel the 2 sections that work the hardest in the Junkanoo aspect is the bass and the choreograph because you don't stop moving and that bass don't stop. So for me right now, I getting goosebumps because I love Junkanoo. Junkanoo, I am passionate about it. Trust me. And I just want to say that when you see me go on Bay Street in those costumes, some of them sometimes you getting cut. You can't breathe, but you have to smile, you have to dance, and you have to perform. So I commend everybody that could put on any type of costume, whether it be a naked costume or a big off the shoulder and go on Bay Street 3 laps. I commend them. And I commend every choreograph leader in this session tonight. Kudos.
Yes, we need to respect one another because win, lose, or draw, every one of us have put in time.
Yes, I agree.
And so I'm so glad you said that you commend everyone because we have to respect and respect each other's talent, craft, and what we put in to our culture.
I just want to jump right in there on that. I have not yet found the choreograph section that just pays their money and picks up their costume and sleep or have a good Christmas day and sleep and then go on base.
Tanya, when you find it, let me know, eh?
I have seen girls billing hats, billing waistbands, drawing out after everybody done paint. Then you say, oh, you was do nails. Come draw out these costumes. It's like the choreograph. Like the only thing we don't do is get the lead on Bay Street. I have seen girls do so much, and I have learned so much about Junkanoo because I'm a newbie. I was a bucket lister. I finished my bachelor's degree and my master's degree in 6 years, back to back, back to back. And when I finished school, I say, I want to do something fun. And now I have a second job. What I didn't know about.
That's what it is.
That's exactly what it is. Because you have to continuously make these calls.
A job would work more than 5% with no pay.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it is so awesome to see the builders, or if you have a builder, if you have a helper, like how Pulse has, we have builders who are attached to Pulse, and they make sure the girls know how to do things. Like, you ain't just come and ask me to do the same thing every time. I'm going to show you how to do it. This is your first time rushing. Okay, this is called the shares. This is called the contact, and you have to do it like this. So I have learned so much in my very short career in Junkanoo so far, and it is just amazing. Like, someone said, people just see the finished product on Bay Street. They don't know that the girls are in the shack working, not just practicing our dance moves on the dance floor. We are in the shack working as well. It's just been an awesome experience so far.
And I'm glad Tanya touched on that, the learning that you get in Junkanoo. Every one of the groups here, every one of these ladies have learned something from Junkanoo. I had the opportunity to be an Exuma for 2 years and to assist the group there, just their Junkanoo preparation, and taught the girls there some stuff that the leader there was like, well, damn, you made this so easy. I'm like, that's the point. You're trying to get 12 girls out in less than a couple of days. It got to be quick. This is the easiest way. So it's not just the fact that we're here, Jerry, Jonathan. It's not the fact that we're here giving something of ourselves, 5%. I'll stick with that. 5% of ourselves. But we are learning. We are also learning to actually come back to these groups and be innovative with how we get ourselves on Bay Street too.
Yeah. Let me ask a good question, Charmaine.
Sorry. Okay.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Lakeisha. We wanted to say
okay, just wanted to piggyback off what Tanya Sampson said. Like, when it comes to costume, we don't get as much help, but sometimes you do have people who would lend a hand here and there. I would never forget, even for Independence down to Boxing Day costume, the Showtime girls were basically building the costumes themselves. I'm pretty sure half of our Showtime girls can build their own costumes. We was down to cutting the wires, putting contact on the cardboard, bending the cardboard, doing the felt. So by times when we came to the road, that energy came out of nowhere, because basically we knew the hard work we have put into the costume, and now we knew it was time to break it up. So basically, because we don't really get help, we have to, basically everybody is hands-on. Everybody to get your costume, and we leave nobody behind. So if your costume is done, you come along and you help this person in the section. We leave no man behind.
Hold on, girl. I have to put my little colors thing on here.
Go ahead, Siobhan.
Hold on. I see everyone sitting down, right? And they have all their little things. And so, hold on. Let me just zoom in. All right, I'm ready.
Okay,
you can continue.
Okay, Charmaine, let me ask this quick question. This goes to everybody. It's an open question to everybody, especially to Jerry and Jonathan. I know Jerry's been in choreograph for a very long time. I noticed now that we have groups with more and more men becoming part of the choreograph section. How do you feel about that? Plus, minuses? Go ahead.
Love it. I am even going to call. Let
Jerry answer that one. Jerry, Unmute your mic, Jerry.
Could you hear me?
Go ahead.
All right. This year was a wonderful year for us from the Saxons. You know, me and Jonathan work hand in hand. You know, I always tell people if more guys come into it, it'd be better. And this year it gave a different flavor for the Saxon because what we did is that we had 2 sections. Every year we carry 2 sections, whereas that I was in the front of the first section and Jonathan was in the front of the second section. So it gives the girls them more, you know, I feel like ladies feel more energized when they see, I don't know, with me it's different. They see me in the front there, I'm a guy, I'm, you know, gyrating and everything. So the girls come say, okay, we feed off your energy. So that's why this year when Jonathan came on board, last year he did the group, I free dance last year where I did Excellent King first and free dance New Year's. And then I said, you know what, let me just go back and just do choreograph and let's just work hand in hand. And this year was a wonderful year with me and him working hand in hand. He did an excellent job, both of us. But also let me piggyback on the design. The design team for the Saxons this year was Tones and Krista and Mali. I'm sure you're familiar with them. Everybody's familiar with Masqueraders. Tones them from Masqueraders, but the big Saxons. They did an excellent job this year with designing the costume for the girls. And this year we had a different program where the girls just focus on practicing. My goal was just to focus on practicing. We had like just the builders and few builders, whereas that we try to keep our design very, very in like closed doors where no one could see it. But the last minute of jumping, you know, people start linking your costume. So, but that was no problem for us. But this year, like she asked like which group you can go in and just pick up your costume. In the Saxons this year, we did that. I must say that. This year, the girls came the last week, just fit their costume. They might have to do one or little 2 things in the costume. But other than that, they focus on routine. I remember now, most of us work at night. Like Giovanni said, most of us we're entertainers. You be working at nighttime. So me and also Jonathan can all never have practice. We only could practice twice a week. But what we try to do is have our girls the last 3 weeks of Junkanoo before we get on basery. We have practice every single day. So even though if we have practice, there's only 10 girls there or 5 girls there, they practice. So when we come together, the last week of Junkanoo, we put our routine together, we go on basery and we execute it. So I must say, I give Jonathan 100% this year, last year. I want to work with him again this year because I know we're going to do awesome. And I respect any choreograph leader from any group. I love seeing all groups. I'll be honest with you. I love seeing One Family, Valley, Genesis, Protocols. I love seeing every group because each group have a different flavor, especially the Roots girls. I love seeing y'all too because y'all get that technique down pack. And like I say, each group have different flavor and I love seeing the girls. So that's the only thing I can say. If more guys come on, that'd be better for us. More guys, you know, ladies will. I think the ladies like it. The ladies like it.
Can
Jonathan,
I answer?
You have anything to say? Jonathan?
Yes.
Where's Jonathan? Go ahead, Johnny.
Jonathan, you there?
Johnny.
I just piggyback off of Jerry said. I feel like sometimes in Junkanoo, people feel as if it is a very male-dominated form of culture. And I just wanted to commend all of the ladies in every choreograph section, as well as those choreograph sections that do have males in their section, because I feel like sometimes people, like some of the others said, see everything that happens with choreograph. They see the finished product, but they don't see the amount of work and time and effort that goes into what getting to Bay Street. And I also feel like sometimes people see the choreograph sections, especially the females, and they're like, oh, well, those girls didn't work hard for that. Somebody built a costume or this happened or that happened. But with my personal experience, I grew up doing ballet and jazz and contemporary, and I always loved Junkanoo, but I never really got the opportunity to rush. And when I came into SSD, I remember even though I was assigned to be a choreograph leader, I remember being taught, like Ms. Boswick said, by the ladies of the group on how to do certain things that I can admit that I didn't know. And they taught me, and it was a very humbling experience for me to learn all of those things. Was just really, really, it was just amazing for me. And I feel like somebody else said earlier, I feel like in the choreograph sections in Junkanoo, I feel like we should respect each other more. We should respect each other's talents, abilities. We should respect each other's gifts, everything that everybody brings to the section. So yeah, that's basically what I wanted to piggyback off of. I just wanted to congratulate everybody again for just being brave and going out there and displaying yourself, because as fun as it is scary. And sometimes it is hard because I've been dancing all my life, and every time I get on stage, I get nervous. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Jonathan, for that. I think Ms. Vogue wanted to ask a question. Carolyn, are you still there?
No,
Carolyn?
it's not that I wanted to. Well, actually, unfortunately, I'm going to have to leave you guys. And so I was wondering if this is a convenient time for me to just make a closing comment to.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Yes. You ladies and gentlemen that are now the leaders of the movement, the performance section of your group, I want you to understand how important you are, not just to Junkanoo, but your community. You are, by extension, dancers. And I want you to know that dance plays an integral part in the history of the Bahamas. And let me go so far as to say for you that many years ago, there's a gentleman by the name of Mr. Fisher, who was the president of the Bahamas Musician and Entertainers Union, and Junkanoo, who physically laid themselves across the road and the streets in order that Bahamians were able to dance in these hotels and in Le Cabaret. Not only that, you have persons like the late Clement Bethel, oh Lord, I'm forgetting their names. The lawyer, two lawyers, the leader of the National Youth Choir. They will forgive me. These persons, many years ago, they wrote their musicals and their plays. And what brought them alive was not only their music, but the dance part of it. And here it is, you in Junkanoo, you are sort of carrying the torch to another level for dance in this country. And what does that mean? That means that you have a civic responsibility that you might not have thought of. You have the ability and the power to change your community and your country. It is important for you to meet and go into conference and make the leaders of this country understand that culture can change many of the social ills. Having told you that, I am very still emotional about learning that the National Dance School has closed. And so that was why I recommended to you, perhaps, you can have your own dance classes. But I say to you, not only your groups are doing wonderful things. Some of you are, I know for Roots, we have all sorts of community programs and what have you. But you, the dancers, I challenge you to also have some kind of community program, by extension, that you are able to help young people have an option. You are a very powerful group. People pay attention to you, people watch you, and people will follow you. I can see you making a change in every community, whether your shack is there or a community where some of your members live. You have the power to say to the leaders of the country that dance culture is a game changer. You must listen to us. We have a voice and we are prepared to contribute to our country, not only just as a Junkanoo group, but by extension as culturalists yourselves. Listen, put God first in everything. I am sure all of you pray before you do anything. And if you do that, do it even a little bit more. Ask Him to use you to be a blessing to other people. See, people see you go on Bay Street, and yes, you joke and you gyrate and all of these things. You have to understand the culture in this country has been lack of respect for persons or artists that participate in movement. You guys have the responsibility now and the ability to put things right. Understand that Junkanoo will get better when you get better. The choreograph section will get better when you get better. The country will get better when you get better. So take on a civic-minded approach to your groups and your movement. I want to say thank you for allowing me to be here. Congratulations to the leaders of Roots, especially Guts. And congratulations to all of you, especially my students, Shavonia and Karen. I wish you all the best and know that I am here to help you in any way. When it comes to culture, you can depend on me. God bless you, and I love you all. Good evening.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Carolyn. Our choreograph show would not have been the same without you. You're the history of choreographing. So we had to have, I should call you the leading lady of choreograph.
Thank you and good night. Thank you.
We
Okay,
could not
bye-bye.
have happened without you. Thank you so
Okay.
much. So we're going to continue our conversation. We're going to continue on with our conversation, even though Carolyn left. One of the things I spoke about earlier is what do groups do to help themselves get prepared, at least choreograph sections, get themselves prepared for all of these off parades. Like I noticed Labor Day and Independence, and then you got Fox Hill, and you know, and everybody got a new outfit.
Summer festival,
Fundraising.
youth march.
Summer festival, you know.
Well,
tell us how do you get about doing that?
I'll touch on how we do it within one family. As we all know, there are several. At one point in time, we only used to really plan more so for Labor Day, which was the start of the Junkanoo season. That was the opening. So of course, everybody wanted to open the season with a bang. So that was one of the planned out street parades that we would get all adorned for. Following that, we would then go into Independence, being patriotic, into Fox Hill, and then into the major parades. Now we have Junkanoo practically 365 days of the year. So we have added on more cultural events, and it allows us to now have to dive in more into our pockets. Now, within the group themselves, the sponsorship that comes from the group is mainly geared towards preparing us for the major parades, Boxing Day and New Year's. In past instances, there have been parades such as the Junkanoo Summerfest that came on board a few years ago, where the Ministry of Tourism paired with the groups and would offer us a stipend to help stimulate the development and the creativity of the groups. So that was a lending hand for us to prepare. But when we now look at the street parades, we have Labor Day, we have Summerfest, we have Independence. We now have to put things into perspective. We want to be able to present a cohesive look, because choreograph again boils down to cohesion, and that is also in our attire. So we now have to set budgets somewhat. So, and preparing for a street parade, for instance, can take anywhere out of pocket from $20 up to $200, according to the look that the section wants to portray. As you have seen in the past, one family has now taken a tone where our emphasis with regards to the street parade is geared a bit more into the Independence Parade. So although we do come out with a bang for Labor Day, whereas we would look at what the theme is within the group and we want to tie into that look. Independence has been our strong foot showing for the last few years. And with that, we, just like in the routine, we have committees. Our committees are then responsible for brainstorming the look that we want to portray on or throughout these parades. And like I said,
and how we're going to fund it.
Pardon?
And how we're going to fund the looks that we are bringing to the parade as well. So you can't just come to the road.
Right.
And just,
those looks are mainly funded out of pocket. When I say out of pocket, these ladies are given breakdowns as to what it is going to cost from head to toe to participate in these street parades. Now, outside of the street parades, when we look at the major parades, Boxing Day and New Year's, we have to be so thankful for the contribution BTC has made towards the choreograph section for the past several years in helping us to be able to present and put forward the looks that we present on Bay Street. But outside of that, we have fundraisers, anything from selling beverages out to the Labor Day parades, youth march parades. We also have events where we throw our annual section party, which is a very highly anticipated event. And we thank every and anybody that has purchased a ticket or attended any of our events. We are so ever thankful to you, because without you, we wouldn't be able to give you the product that we have put forward for so many years. But like I was saying, outside of the funding that comes directly out of the pocket of the ladies, we do our water drives, we do our drink drives at practice, because some of the ladies are too lazy to bring water of their own. So we allow them to purchase those beverages from us, and we would then put those monies back into our kitties. Kay, you wanted to add anything to that I may have left off?
Yeah, and aside from that, I know even though the group has its main sponsors, we too, as a section, we have to go out and get additional sponsorship for our section. So that's part of why it's so important for us to always portray the right image, because we want to make sure that we're aligning ourselves with organizations who see the vision that we have, who understand the cultural elements that we're bringing and the impact we're making on our communities. So along with everything that Nishka mentioned, we also go out and make sure that we have our own sponsors to offset the cost or the out-of-pocket expenses that the ladies have to pay in making it to the road, whether it's for side parades or the main parade.
To jump right onto that, along with the sponsors and fundraising, what Genesis Pulse has initiated this year to assist the girls with getting to Bay, we have started a Junkanoo ASU. So everybody's familiar with the concept of an ASU. Everybody knows that Junkanoo is coming at the end of the year. So it's not that big, huge bill during the Christmas time when everything else is going on in our lives. You don't have to think about, oh, little Johnny Christmas present or my decorations. You have put aside your $50 every payday or however you want to block it out, and you get your little contract, you get your receipts, and when Boxing Day is here, oh, you only have a $25 balance left to get to the road. So we have to think of different ways. We do the same thing every year, but you still may fall a little short. So we just wanted to brainstorm and come up with something additional to make it a little easier for the girls to get to the road.
Question. I know in a Junkanoo parade, there's normally 2 sections of girls. Is there a restricted amount of girls for each section, or that determines on how many girls that qualify?
Well, Charmaine, as it stipulates within the A category, we're required to have a minimum of 12 dancers.
Right.
And within the B, if I'm not mistaken, it's 10.
10.
Okay, within the B, it's 10. Now, there really isn't a cap per se on the amount of dancers. That really comes from a design team as well as the section's collaboration to determine the production that has to go into the costuming of the section. The section itself does not necessarily have to be split into two. We've had years where one family had anywhere from 3 to 4 sections of costumes within one section. When I was a part of Infrared, if I remember, it was music morning, and we had 4 different representation of music. We had the salon dancers, we had the guitar players, we had gospel, and we had rock and roll. So it's based on the vision of the design team within the synopsis, and with a collaboration with the builders, that's really going to determine within that 12 to up till, let's say for me, for instance, a cap at 50, what or how many different elements of your synopsis the choreograph section is going to portray, which will then determine the breakdown in the sections and what the costumes they're going to carry.
Papa, you have a question?
Let me speak on the amount as well.
Oh, I'm good for now. Good for now.
Okay, Perez?
For the Valley Boys, it is usually a combination of the costume team. They typically have a number of costumes they want to build. And from there, we will kind of look and see how much girls we have based on the amount of costumes the design team is looking at producing. We also have to take into consideration the cost to produce these costumes. Another thing when we decide the amount of ladies that we take is the group itself. The Valley Boys is a very large group, and taking a large amount of girls is going to spread the group out even more, pushing the front line further away from the music, which can stifle performance sometimes. So we look at ways to take the most amount of girls, the least effect. We look at different ways to line up the section. We might go in 3s, we might go in 4 transitions, but typically we usually have 2 sections of ladies. We normally don't go beyond 2 sections because the group is so large. So we also have to take that into consideration. And then performance, you want to have enough space to perform. You don't want to be tight. All of that is a part of your judging. So all of that gets taken into consideration when we look at the amount of ladies going, the costuming, the cost, the group itself. So it's kind of tedious having to, like Jerry mentioned, cut some ladies, or maybe just tell them go. Yes, they parade. Sometimes we use off parades as another avenue. Maybe you should come back Labor Day or watch Independence or something like that. But we try to give everybody the opportunity to get to the booth.
Charmaine, I want to add, not much of us are going on bay with the 12 minimum requirement.
No.
Because I think the uniqueness of the choreograph, when the choreograph reach, that's real performance. Right. Because the uniqueness that choreograph gives is that you can see an aerial view, that movement, that energy, that everything that we use to express ourselves through this unique culture called Junkanoo. And so in my personal opinion, as it relates to my experience in choreograph, if that does not have a certain number, it takes away from that visual aspect that choreograph should give.
Right. To piggyback off what Sadira said, I think it has a lot to do with the theme as well, because based on the theme, you may, it may help you decide on how many sections you want. You may have, let's say for Roots, where we did the flight section, we had the flight attendant, we had the different types of weather. So it depends on which theme you pick, and that can determine the section, along with what my red said. It has to do with how many costumes the builder wants to build as well. So you would have to take all of that into consideration to determine the amount of sections you want when you come down the bay.
Just to touch on what you ladies were just saying. Now, I know some people have this they feel as if when they see two sections or three sections of dancers, it's almost like a division. But I know now within our section we all function under one umbrella, OFCD.
Sure.
And within that umbrella, it can you have your splits, but at the same time, although you may see 2 to 3 section of dancers, they're all still performing underneath that one umbrella of choreography. And this is my personal opinion. Throughout the years of my experience, I really value quality over quantity, because I've seen years where we've taken 40, 50, close to 50 dancers to Bay Street and get fourth and fifth. And we've had mornings where we've taken less than 30 and we've actually won. So it still boils down to the judging system, what it is that you are going to present on Bay Street. Is it tied into your synopsis? Is it based on the judge's training? Is it giving them the visual appeal that they've been trained to look for? So it still boils down to what the section pulls out of the dances that they bring to Bay Street, be it anywhere from 12, be it anywhere up to 50, it still boils down to that.
But I've noticed over the years the creativity with the girls has gone to a total different level.
Yeah, that's what I was about to touch on too, Charmaine. It depends on it all depends. It's all about the creativity of the choreographers, piggybacking on what she's saying.
And I must commend each group here. I've been watching the growth of each group every year, and it seems to go a level higher. So it seems like the competition now has come a lot higher for all of the groups. Any group could win choreograph. Any group could. It is just not one good choreograph group anymore. Everybody is at the starting line, and whoever finished that race first wins. You know, it's just that much competition when it comes, and especially, you know, in the last 2 years, the type of costume that I have seen by all of the different groups has been so out of the box. You know, I would love to see in another 5 years to see what choreograph would look like. You know, Papa?
Yeah, I have one last question before we sort of shut down. You spoke about the time it takes to actually prepare for Boxing Day in New Year's, but I don't think nobody went into exactly how often you practice. And you mentioned you go practice more towards the end of the parade, but I mean, let's give us a little overview of between, is that April to January 2nd? What's that like?
Well, when I was working with colors, I'm currently in St. Lucia, so Carnival City here. It's Carnival City here. That don't take too long for them here. But when I was with colors, yes. So you started up in April, just prepping yourself for your Independence parades, and then you start your choreography for those parades. But your key factors in working for Boxing Day and New Year's for me was always between August to December for your Boxing Day and New Year's Day parade, to put out 2 pieces of choreography in that short space of time. And for me, when I was, like I said, for me, when I was doing the choreography for colors, I always had a timing on my piece. I always knew exactly how long it was going to take me from, and this is just walking Bay Street for many moons as a teenager, just how long it's going to take, how much choreography I needed to get from the starting line to a certain point on Bay Street, so that when I start over again, when we go back to the top of that choreography, this new section of Bay Street is seeing something that the other section is already seeing. So the choreography rolls over into something new for everybody. So it takes you, and honestly, colors, when I was there, Siobhan has the reins now. When I was there, we only rehearse on Sundays, once a week, but the time is not once a week. from about 3 p.m. until almost 9 o'clock in the night. So the girls just took out a chunk of their afternoon and they came there and we worked. Miss Shivonia?
Yes, now we take that time. I try to have it twice a week now, because I'm realizing that the more you have, the more ladies you have dancing, you know, like all of the professional dancers have now started to dwindle on and, you know, go off to college. And now we're getting a new, you know, rotation going on now at Colors. So I try to do it now twice a week on Sundays and Tuesdays. And like I was saying before, you know, I try to give a little bit of dance classes during my workout session. That's before the actual routine and before the actual practice starts. And the choreography, so that the girls know exactly what they will be looking forward to doing. You know, as simple as, like I was saying, you know, kicks. You know, you don't want to see flex feet in the air. You don't want to see the bottom of no one's sole while they're kicking their feet. You want to see pointed feet. And piggybacking off of Carolyn, you know, that's where, you know, we say some of us are trained dancers. So we do have an eye to look for what it is that we want to put out there, you know, depending on the synopsis. If you have an African number, you're not going to be pointing your feet. Those feet is going to be flex and how to do it. So all of that will compensate on, you know, how much time we need. It honestly will depend on how well the girls pick up.
And I can agree to what Ms. Turnquist did say just now. It does depend on how quickly the ladies do pick up. I know within my section, we have a great group of young women, and some of these women have been with this section from they were in high school. Now, we all know when we were in high school, we had more time, more free time. We were eager. Right. We wanted to be the practice. We had nothing else to do but be the practice, be the shack, and go to the group practices. Now that most of us have now become career women, and some of us have become have become mothers and our wives, we now have our homes that we have to care for. So for us, we have now earmarked 2 days out of the week, within the week, to begin at the beginning of the season. And we have anywhere from a 3 to a 4 hour practice session within the week. Now, we all know that Sunday is one of the most available days to most homes. So that is a set day that we would have earmarked. But as the season progresses, and like she says, depending on what the routine entails and depending on how fast the ladies will pick up, we will then add on additional practice sessions on a need-to basis, because at the end, as the season starts to progress into the major competitive part, which is the Boxing Day and the New Year's, we now need to get more serious. Not to say that we're not taking it serious in the beginning, but now this is the creme de la creme. This is what you have worked all this season towards. So now you need to now put that dedication and discipline into action and produce the best that you can coming towards the end of the season.
To piggyback on what she said as well, early in the season, we'd have the 2 days out of the week practice. And sometimes we would have persons working early in the day or the night shift, like Jerry said earlier in the meeting as well. So sometimes we would have extra classes. And like Sadira said, sometimes it's a passion. So persons would volunteer to help persons on the side on off days when we actually don't have practice. So when it comes closer to the parade, we would have more practice time, whereas we focus really on, you know, lines, energy, and so on. So that's really blood, sweat, and tears practice. And then you actually have persons from Root Showtime, whereas they would actually link up by somebody's house. They would have like a certain area, and everybody is basically just practicing. Okay, you do work, yeah, you have a space in your backyard. Let's go and let's do it. So sometimes you would have a set practice, but it really doesn't have to be to that practice spot. It can be any and everywhere, because once you have a passion for Junkanoo, it's like, you know what, if you're interested, let's go ahead and let's get it. So
shout out to my Valley ladies to the core. By any means necessary. If we call in every day, they come in.
Come in, right?
So, like she said, it's a passion. And so I love my Valley ladies. We've been working extremely well together. Last year was an awesome year, and we look forward to many more. I want to add to that. A lot of times the phrase is used wherever there's a lot of women, there's problems. And I would like to say that Choreograph shows that this statement is not true.
It's not true.
We as human beings have disagreements. We as human beings, be it male or female, no matter which sex, you will have disagreements, misunderstandings. Is how you deal with it. And if you are a unit, you understand the bigger picture, problems and women being together, I disagree with it.
And it's funny that you said that too, Sadira, because actually, you know, you have your differences in practice or maybe even before you get to the road. But I can assure you, when it comes to performance on the road, you even forget you mad at the next person. When that drum hits and when the horns lick off, I was mad. You sure I was mad at you earlier? Everybody forget. That when the music hit, that's it. That is it.
Junkanoo. Right, that's true. Well, ladies and gents, it has been an excellent night. One of the things that I want to just, before we close, talk about the COVID-19. I know it has staggered us a bit of practicing. You know, you can't have more than 10 persons together at one time. And so it seems like we are not going to have a Boxing Day parade. They're saying, well, if it's being said February, the final decision still has not been made yet. So I guess when we go into phase 5, I think we're in phase 3 now. We go into phase 5, and I guess all of you will be able to come together with your ladies and then start your practices again. Or do a virtual practice like how we're doing here on Zoom, have your virtual practices. Is that correct?
Yeah,
that's correct.
Us in One Family, we're definitely doing things differently, taking a different approach to how we move the season forward, because at the end of the day, yes, we all love Junkanoo and we want to get back to being with our sisters and brothers and being able to exert a lot of this energy that we've been pent up for the last few months. And so it is, like you said, doing the virtual work is something that we are doing. And one of those initiatives for us, I'm sure many of you and those who are tuned in online may have seen it, this Labor Day, we are starting things off, getting people in the spirit of Junkanoo by having our choreograph event on this Labor Day. So Junkanoo isn't there, but at the end of the day, we're bringing Junkanoo to everybody. So we're trying to do things differently. Our ladies are geared up, ready to go, excited about what new is coming this particular season due to COVID. But at the end of the day, the spirit of Junkanoo is very much alive and well and within all of our choreograph sections. And we're excited about how we're going to be doing things different. Invention is what we've come to appreciate about this this period of time.
Right. And so much creativity and
yes.
Different. COVID-19 has taken our minds beyond the beyond in terms of coming together to make this thing we call Junkanoo work. Because look how we could just come together and talk about so many things with so many other persons are watching us and understanding what it takes to actually get a choreograph section or questions that they wanted to know about choreograph has been answered here tonight.
Can I add something, Charmaine?
Go ahead, dear.
I just want to add this point, this last point. I know you spoke about how you would see or you'd love to see choreograph in about 5 years. I want to say that with the stadium opening, it would have given the choreograph a platform that we've never had, because every single choreograph section, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, was able to come under one umbrella and dance together, regardless of Junkanoo groups, regardless of sections, regardless of the competition. And we were able to get together to come together for something nationally. And so I think that is something that I am excited and would love to see. And I want to share that with our Junkanoo community, our JCNPs, our ministers, our culture, all of those. If we have more platforms to do things together nationally for the culture itself, not for our groups or the competition. And I think that would be an excellent thing for us to interact and intertwine and be those resilient Junkanoos that we are.
I would like for each of us to take away from this session, if each of the choreographed sections would speak to their group's respective JCMP representative and discuss the 5% allocation of choreograph in the judging rule book. Because when we speak about practicing and preparing and going in ASUs and selling water on the side of the road from March to January 2nd, it is ridiculous that we are 5%. I always think about the movie Drumline. I know everybody should have watched Drumline. And there's a particular scene in Drumline when the marching band breaks out into the different sections of the band. And the camera walks past each section. The cymbal leader is telling the cymbals why they're the most important part of the band. The trumpet leader is telling the trumpets why they're the most important section of the band. But then they reach to the drums, and the drum leader explains that they are the pulse of the band. And choreograph is the pulse of each and every Junkanoo group. And your pulse, you cannot be alive without your heartbeat, without your pulse. So 5% is a slap in the face to me and every one of us and every girl who is on our line. So if we can each go back to our executive team, steering team, leadership team, and whoever is our group's JCNP rep, choreograph, whenever they vote or whenever they send in their proposal or whenever they're looking at the rule book, choreograph needs to be increased from 5%.
Also, too, Tonya, to add to that, sorry, Jonathan, add to that's somebody speaking?
Yes, good night all. This is Jason.
Jason. Sorry.
I've been listening quite attentively all night, listening to all of you give your great contributions. I applaud all of you and I welcome all of you, and I would like for each and every one of you to continue doing what you are doing. I am a very big advocate for the arts, not just Junkanoo, for the arts. And one of the things that I've been hearing all night is professionalism. Each one of us bring professionalism to our organizations. Last week, we spoke to the brass, and that was one of the things that I was trying to get them to understand. If each section of Junkanoo, each section of our culture brings professionalism, people cannot tell you. See the thing which you're talking about, the 5%. Once you bring professionalism, you can demand and do more things. Because a lot of persons, they have this mindset that you're a Junkanoo. From they mention that word, they have a stigma that is attached to it. And the sad thing is we are professionals. We are professional dancers, we are professional musicians, we are professional designers, we are the professional builders. They need to put respect and give us the respect that we deserve, because we are professionals and we bring total professionalism to this thing called Junkanoo.
And to me, Jason, the 5% is showing disrespect. And on top of that, even when you look at training the judges and the judging system, you can't just put on me performance and costume, because that doesn't equate or even break up the scoring to say technique, to say synchronization. Give me a little more other than what you give me for performance and costume. It has to be more than that you see when we line up on Bay Street. Has to be more than that.
Well,
and from where we're starting tonight.
Just to re-emphasize what you're saying, Sadira, you know, and in terms of the judges, you cannot tell me I'm worth 5% of a September to December practice You can't tell me I'm only worth 5% when you're not there. You don't understand the work, the energy it takes for a choreographer to conceptualize, to visualize choreography, to visualize a costume, to get it to Bay Street, to get it in. For example, I think one year, one family had almost 100 girls on Bay Street, up to 70 girls on Bay Street. So put a piece of choreography and 70 people, stadium opening. So that was 400 people. You know, that they to conceptualize that.
Yes, yes,
to put
ma'am.
choreography into 400 people in a short space of time. And you want to tell me I'm only worth 5%? That makes entirely no sense.
Well, to add to what you're saying, Keisha, because last year I was one of the coordinators who presented on choreography, and I did that knowing what it is that me as a choreographed dancer, what I put or what we all, my best representation of every group. And Jerry was there for a portion of it. What we put into our costuming and into our routine. And I spoke on everything from synchronization, unison, personification, imagery, technique, technical. But you know what was the most baffling portion of it? Beyond the 5%? It was a classroom that was supposed to house up to 50 persons. And there was less than half of that there for me to present to, and they are the ones that are going to judge me. So,
and to add to that, Nishka, to add to that as well, I think even with us presenting to the judges, that shouldn't come from just one group. I feel we should have a manual now already prepared that is compiled from every choreograph section. A, B, D, G, F. Everyone inputs their points to their JCNP representative, and we compile that manual. So if the judge today, tomorrow ain't come back, ain't there, judge number 45 resign, whomever should have this manual to look at. We should need someone to present every year to the different judges.
In all honesty, there is a manual, there is a booklet, because each presenter has to put their presentation in black and white, and that is packaged for the potential judges to review in addition to what you are presenting.
Right. But that package now only comes from the presenter. That's not a representation or reflection from the entire Junkanoo choreograph. See, that's a disadvantage.
That needs to be updated. That needs to be updated.
Yeah.
I feel that needs to fit, because if that person is giving all the information about choreograph, when the judges go on Bay Street, they already saw one family get them all the information. So what they'll see is that, okay, we know when we judge one family, they know what they bring. We know.
Okay.
They told
Jerry, with the presentation that I did, we didn't win both parades. So
I understand. It isn't for me. When you're selling something to someone,
I have done choreograph for 20 plus years, and in my defense and in my opinion, I feel that I am one of, if not the most open-minded person when it comes to choreography, because I respect every section. When I say I respect every section, I mean I respect everybody's artistry, because at the very heart of choreography, we are all there to exemplify the same thing. Every group, every section, as Ms. Vogue and as Keisha and as Karen and as everybody in this chat group has touched on, every section has their own style and their own uniqueness.
Yes, I understand that. But once the judges already bring all that information to the judges,
already privy to. So for me, when I was approached to present that approach was brought to me because whoever is the JCMP rep of your section or of your group. That was attributed to them. This was something that was passed on to everybody. So I was approached, as was every other group that was approached. Now, who would have
But
passed
I
the
cannot
message
say
on
every
to
group was
the other
approached because
groups? I
the
cannot
last.
speak to that.
Okay, before you guys run on, let me just say something here. Every single group is asked to present on every single section.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you,
If it's
Shami.
not fair to present, then that is on that particular group. But again, like Sadira said, all of the groups need to come together and present one manual.
I agree.
That's my point.
Yeah.
It's not directly to Nishka. Nishka,
Right.
you don't have to defend yourself because you are presenting.
Well,
My
even not to say
suggestion
defend
is to be
myself, the
added
fact
to the judging system that they
Well,
need
the
to think
system
about.
itself needs to be revisited because
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, you have 12 plus B, 10 plus B groups. You have 5 plus A groups. You cannot come to the A and the B groups a week before the presentations are done and expect a cohesion or forum for all of us to come together and actually do that. That is unfair to us because you're now approaching us during the time in which we are now preparing for our parades. And the reason why I took it on, because I've sat in the presentation before, the year before, and it was not flattering and it was not informative as a clear representation of choreography. So I felt within myself, I could give the judges a open look at choreography, not from one family's standpoint, because I had to do research on that. From
Yeah, but what I'm saying, I was there. Okay, you say I was there. I was there, and to me personally, I felt that y'all sell yourself automatically to the judges right then. You sell yourself right then. So if I'm sitting down and say I'm gonna basically to judge the parade, I'm gonna listen to every single thing that you say. And when I see one family, I know one family. No, they taught us, so I know how to judge one family because they taught us. They was the lecturers, so they taught us, so we know automatically we're gonna judge them excellently.
So Jerry,
you understand?
with you
So when we
sitting
see
in the
other groups gotta work hard.
But
I know
let me
everybody works hard.
share something. Let me share something.
Jerry, with you sitting in the presentation.
Hold on, Mister. Let me share something with both of you.
When we went there, you couldn't say nothing because you say
Jerry, let me share something with both of you. Over the years, in my time when I was in the judging system, all of the groups were asked to attend to do a representation. Now here it is, years later, I've already left that 5 years ago, you guys are still running on with the same thing. Like Sadira said, all collectively, all of the choreographers need to come together. All of the brass
yes, I think that's what they need to say.
Need to come together and present one type of information, because from back then everybody coming there trying to put their jack in for everybody. That ain't the case.
Yes.
So it has to be done that one person, one lecturer represent everybody. One booklet, so everybody can come together with their different information and collectively put it in one, for one person to describe.
And I agree. And I agree.
Another thing I have to say to that point too, before you guys finish, you know, that is why we cannot progress in Junkanoo, because we have to rest under tribalism. We have to make it more independent.
Yes.
We have to make it more independent, so nobody go in there looking for pointers or stripes or whatever. You know, when I was in charge of that, if you came in there without attention, I could stop you and tell you, listen, you finished for the night. When everybody leave the room, I speak to all of the judges and say, whatever is said here tonight, I want you to remember, you represent the advancement of Junkanoo. Yes. You're not here for You're not here for point A, B, or D, for somebody that you know. If I give you 10 points and you can't blow the trumpet, and I give you 10 points, I'm making you know better because I just know you.
That's true.
You understand what I'm saying? So again,
that's what's been happening. That's what's been happening.
We have to get back to the basics and making sure that everyone is taught from one particular manual. Everybody get together on one accord and do one presentation from everybody. Nobody needs to see no group And to see it, anyhow.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
That's what Jerry is saying.
I wanna touch on that.
I agree with Jerry. I think Jerry's saying, okay, let's say if I present from Roots on behalf of everybody, yes, I may have an open mind, but at the end of the day, I am thinking, right, I am thinking how I see Roots Showtime. But like Sadira is saying, if the Valley comes, if one family comes, if Saxons come, at the end of the day, when the presentation is done, it's how the choreograph section, including Genesis, is how the choreograph section sees, the platform when it comes to dance. So I understand where Jerry is coming from along with Sadira. Right.
One person needs to present with everybody combined. Ming wanted to say something. Go ahead, Ming.
Yeah, what I wanted to add to that is we are here together in a forum from different groups.
Right.
From the last few shows that we had, it was the same thing. We had brass from different groups, we had the persons from different groups. The only thing that we need to achieve is to have one body.
One body. One.
Everybody remove all your banners and say, listen,
Yeah.
I am representing Junkanoo, I'm representing the Bahamas.
Yeah. One.
If we totally remove the competition and remove base rate as being the final thing, we'll have all the respect we need. We could achieve and do anything.
You're right.
Anything.
Jason, to add to that, with the technology we have, that is easily accomplished because we can send a Google Doc to make sure every choreograph board represented here has that Google Doc. You edit it, add to it, and that can be sent. So with the technology we have, it can be done in less than minutes. I'm a teacher. I've been teaching on Zoom and learning new things every day, new platforms to reach my children and parents. It can be done. Junkanoo is 365. Don't tell me we go in close to parade and you calling me to present. No, we could sort that out now. We have COVID. Let's do it. We could sort that out now.
I agree. For me, the whole process of how the course is taught needs to be revamped, because when you look at it, every year you have to keep changing this. Rules are changed. This is changed every year. It's something that has to be revisited. So for me, if anything needs to be revisited, it needs to stem from one document, like you're saying, as things evolve or as things change. Now, if you want to say remove the faces that are affiliated with the various groups, then that's something again that needs to be presented to the whole process. Like you say, come together in a forum, which I agree to, and which is also what I suggested. Again, time not being on the side, that is how it was done. But like you said, we're now at a time where everything that needs to be looked at in black and white can now be done. We now, as Junkanooers, need to now come together and put that forward for them to listen to us. Because without us making up the membership of these groups would not have people in the road. So at the same time, we now need to demand the respect and the credibility for the years that we've been doing this, for the years that we've been teaching this. Because like you say, it may not, as open as my mind may see, Jerry seeing me at the front of the class, he's going to say that I'm selling one family, which for me, I'm just trying to sell choreography. But it still boils down to all of us as Junkanoo respecting our craft, respecting each other, and valuing what it is that we have contributed for so many years and sacrificed for so many years to get to where we are now, particularly with choreography.
And I'll tell you one thing, if they were to do that, they would see for sure, they would have to respect the professionalism and the work that we put into it. 5%, I have to go back to that again, 5% just won't cut it. I too was devastated when they dropped us to 5%. Honest to God. 5%. You saw the things we do. We start working from April, we start working, we go around the clock all through the year. We start off with 2 days out of the week. We go to 3 days out of the week. We working in people's backyard. We meet the people on their lunchtime. As it gets close to the parade, 2-3 weeks into the parade, 2-3 weeks every single day, 5%. No, no, they need to look at that again.
Everybody here are leaders, and I know they have some say. And so right now is the time now, because you have persons listening and watching. You guys have said everything that you need to say here to make the changes. Like Sadira said, this COVID-19 lockdown time is the right time.
It is the right time
for us to make changes. Just like how we doing this Zoom. Just like how we doing this.
And especially on the weekends, to whereas nobody has nowhere to go. Everybody is
nowhere to go. You have nowhere to go.
This is an awesome time. This is Zoom time.
Yeah. This is time for us to reset. And like I said, if we can come together, find a way to come together and break all these barriers as tribalism, we can achieve so much. And we have a platform that we can bring so many persons on board. We have doctors, we have lawyers, we have professionals in every aspect of this same Junkanoo.
Involved.
We need to get their respect.
I want to chime in. I've been listening. Hi, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Antonia. I am no longer a active Junkanooer, but I did debut dancing with the Valley. And then when we broke off and took Showtime and started Roots, so I came up under Carolyn and of course Karen and Siobhan, and then Lakeisha, of course, is my good friend. I'm tuning in from Fort Lauderdale, and I want to say that I stopped dancing in Junkanoo about 2002 or 2003, I think was my last parade, because living in America and coming home only in the Christmas time, I can't make practice from April to December. I would before the parade, and I would be practicing with Siobhan and Karen Lewis every day, and in the shack every day, working on my costume. So I know exactly what you're talking about. And I'm insulted with 5%, and I don't even dance anymore. I mean, I've been thinking about when I come home in the Christmas times, maybe participating and doing a free dancer, because of course I don't even want to stress having to learn a routine. But I agree that with technology and with the Zoom, this is probably a good way to get people who are not in Nassau to become involved on any level, whether it's administrative, whether it's helping with fundraising, and whatever it is that people can do to contribute. I think this is a good thing you guys did tonight. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Antonia.
Thank you,
and
Antonia.
we don't have this platform enough for us to get together outside of who win, who lose, who look bad, who don't. You don't think they should win.
Yeah,
I'm a human being before I get to the competition. Respect me as a human being and the craft and my person first.
Because I want to tell you that I have friends that know how much of a Junkanoo I was, and they always say, my Bayman friends here, when we get together, because they're Valley or Saxon roots or whatever, and they're always like, "Oh, you're a roots, but I'm like, you know what? No, I'm into Junkanoo. I like to watch the parade, to enjoy the parade. I don't pull for any one group anymore. Although I still love my roots, Karen. Don't kick me in the curb yet. But I enjoy watching the parade and seeing the immense talent that everybody portrays. All the free dances, all the choreographed lines, the music. I enjoy listening to everybody, and I'm always promoting my culture. I've had quite a few friends that have come down over the years that have gone to the parade and stuff. So, I just think that this is something, I agree, that can be taken to the next level. I think that sometimes I think it's just too much competition.
Yeah, we lose focus. We lose focus.
Exactly.
Yeah, we lose focus.
We forget it's an art form.
It's
I think if we much as it is Junkanoo, it's our art form. It's our art form. It's an art form. Yeah. Some of the costumes that go on Bay Street, some of the choreographed stuff, in terms of not even just the choreography, just the costumes of the choreographed session, where sometimes they're Something you could take off and put in your house. It's a complete work of art. Some of the backdrops.
I want you to know
from everything.
I
You
want
know,
you
it's
to
an
know that I do
art form.
carnival as well. I haven't done carnival in Bahamas, but I've done carnival in other countries, Jamaica,
It's an art form.
the Virgin Islands, all of those. And I do also have parts of my carnival costumes that I bring back when I come to display in my home. You know, Junkanoo pieces are usually so big I can't bring them back on the plane. You know, but I think that that's something that we can develop. You know, we can sell souvenirs. That, you know, we've got to develop our culture. And
I remember, and I don't know if Papa Rossi remember this. I remember years ago, and it's so funny because our friendship goes back from high school, me and Kevin. So I remember, and I say years ago, I'm gonna leave it at that, Kevin, years ago. And we used to go and sit, my uncles had most qualified. So for years we weren't involved in Junkanoo, me and my cousin Contanza. We would come in the shack by Kevin knows, and there are Bali costumes everywhere. So we're pasting, we're helping guys paste, we're helping guys decorate, and they're talking, and Kevin always had this concept of Junkanoo in a box. And his whole thing was getting a costume, that your group's building a costume, making a costume that if you just want to have a fun section, they can come to your group and purchase this costume in a box that still fits, that still goes with the theme of what the group is. But this is not a judge section, it's a fun section. So if I'm a Valley fan, and yes, I want to do the bucket list like Tanya says, and I don't necessarily want to be in the shack all the time, I can come and purchase this Junkanoo box. I can tell you when Kevin thought of that was 1994.
And Keisha,
and now we have carnival. That's basically what carnival is. It's in a box. You know?
That's exactly what it is.
So you know, we have to think of what we have as Bahamians, as Junkanoo, as an art form. And that's truly what it is. The artistry just doesn't come from, we take cardboard, we take a piece of cardboard and we create the ants that's in the back of Keandra. We create what's in the back of Sadira, you know. We create this lion that's in the back of Roots. We create that from cardboard, wire, glue,
spray paper,
contact, crepe paper. You know, I wash it out. My hair, some parades up until April.
I may still have some glitter in there from 10 years ago.
Listen, so we really have to think about it as an art form. Same thing, you know, from an art form, from the banner, from those free dancers to the choreograph, to the bellas, to the drummers, to the bass drummers, to the lead costume. Some of the most amazing conceptions of artistry in a lead costume. That's how we think of Junkanoo. That's the only way Junkanoo can go on Bay Street and get the respect it's supposed to get, is if we're thinking of it as an art form instead of us saying, I'm a Junkanoo from Saxons, I'm a Junkanoo from this place. I'm an artist. That's what I am. I'm an artist.
Yes. I could keep you all talking here all night. Another point I know that Miss Vogue brought up, we need to give back to the community, i.e. Junior Junkanoo. Junior Junkanoo.
Oh Lord.
Okay, I can keep you all night.
We can leave that for part 2.
Leave that there for another time.
Okay, I waited.
I got to say something, but I'm shutting out.
So let's get some closing remarks from everybody. We're gonna each one of you give closing remarks.
Yeah, so we're gonna go from the list. We're gonna go from the list that I had earlier. We're gonna start with Roots first.
Okay.
We're gonna start with Roots first. Karen, Lakeisha,
Ms.
Pinder. I'm saying one of the concerns that I have is I just want us to always be united. You know, someone touched on it earlier. Even though we may be representing other groups when it comes to a competition, remember now we have to look at the bigger picture. We are a Bahamian culture. We must always stay united. I too would love to have a platform where we get to showcase our talent as one body. That's one of my pet peeves. I not so much competitiveness all the year round, all the time, all the time. I would love to come together and especially involve the youth. You got to keep this rotation moving on. You got to keep this rotation, keep things going on. So that's my concern. Let's keep the unity going. Let's have more platforms where we're one body, not so much individual competitiveness in groups.
Okay. Keisha?
Yes, I agree with Karen Pender Mullings. I think sometimes we get so competitive where it's kind of like a separation when it comes to Junkanoo. I don't know if COVID-19 is gonna help us with that, whereas we may not have a competition parade, but whereas more fun parades where it can actually bring everybody together and remember, like the gentleman said, to keep the culture alive. Yeah, and that's basically it.
Keisha?
Oh, I'm
I
sorry,
vote for
sorry.
a fun
No,
parade.
Keisha, I mean, I'm sorry. I know I already had my chance, but let me tell you one of the reasons why my favorite parade is Independence for the same reason. It's not a competition. It's one nation, one. I love New Year's. I mean, the Independence Parade. That's my favorite parade. We're one Bahamian party. Love it.
Patrick? Keisha?
We just, like I said before, we just have to like, and just to piggyback on both with the young Miss Johnson and Karen both said, this is our expression. We have to respect it. In order for us to come together, we have to make sure we have to come together and show the unity amongst ourselves. In order for everyone else to respect what we do, respect the art form. Junkanoo is what it is. I remember it as a child, and I'm an adult, and I'm very much passionate about it, as it's a part of me and a part of everything that I do. So you just have to bring everything together and make it work for all of us. Siobhan?
Okay.
Yes, I'm going to piggyback off on our 5%. We're going to do something about that, especially. No. Especially when we have to put those heels on. Now, if you don't know how heels came to Bay Street, Carolyn, folks, we were all inside the cabaret show back when Roots came. And we came from stage straight to Junkanoo in our heels. Some of us, like myself, Kendra, and Shari, who was back flipping in heels when Roots first came out. Yes. Battle scars in heels, especially when we have to wear those heels depending on that synopsis so that our uniform, our costumes could be cute. So we have to try and get rid of that 5%. And I would like to say it was a pleasure, ladies, talking to you tonight. It was a pleasure. I would love to meet the choreographed dancers one day and, doing something together. We can name it whatever it is. Meet the choreograph, meet the Junkanoo choreographers, something like that. That would be an awesome, awesome display for our country.
Charmaine could organize that right after this COVID thing. Let's get all the choreographers together.
Yes. United we stand, right.
We can have an evening.
Me?
I just want to say that somebody Junkanoo music.
Yeah, go ahead, Antonia.
That's sweet now. That's sweet.
Yeah, it does sound good. I just want to say good night and thank you guys for letting me peep in. I agree with Karen that Independence Day was a parade because there's no competition. Everybody's just dancing in the country and having a good time. And I like what Lakeisha Boston said also about the Junkanoo in the box. Kind of like how we do the carnival, Right. You can have a section. You can call it a fan section, because we have Valley fans. They sell t-shirts and all these other things. they could do like costumes and have a fan section where people could participate that would like to participate, and it could be a non-judge section because I know how guys feel about their points. Okay, Antonia Simpson.
Thank you, B. Charmaine, for hosting this. It's been a great experience. I would like to encourage everyone in leadership. It's not easy, and I would like to encourage you guys to keep keeping on, be strong, and to share the load, and to train someone under you, train girls who you see that spark in, because we want to pass the baton on and still leave what we've learned over the years in someone else. I also want to shout out all my Pulse Pies, my Genesis Pulse Pies. Thank you, girls, for tuning in. Tisha.
Good night, good night, good night. I just want to say thank you, V. Charmaine Roll, for the opportunity for us to speak on this platform. I hope the viewers that tune in understand the hard work and dedication that's put in each and every one of us to get to Bay Street. It's not easy. I pray we can get more than 5% on the road. And I just want to commend all of the leaders again. Like I say, I love you guys. Roots, one family, the Valley Colors. I love all of you. You bring that spark to Bay Street. It's no Junkanoo without any of you. Because if you don't have no competition, you can't go on Bay Street. So I commend everybody and continue to do well.
Hey, Brad. That's it. That's for your family. Vera, go ahead, Brad. Breaking up.
Myra, you're not clear.
Alright.
You're not clear.
Okay, then, Samira.
All right. So my parting words are, again, thank you for the platform. I want us to remember that Junkanoo is a spirit. Let's stay focused on what we are celebrating. We were celebrating freedom. And so you wanted to remain unity and make sure that you have a line of respect as it relates to the competition. Before we line up as a group, and with our group, we are first individuals. And so let's respect each other as leaders, as individuals, as those persons in the craft. Let's keep doing what we're doing. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you.
Gary?
Hi, good night. Once again, Shami, thank you for this platform. It's really good. You ladies and gents, I must say, keep up the good work. You all are doing excellent. I love watching you all on Bay Street. So hopefully that we have a parade in December, because that's when we do Junkanoo. I'm not used to seeing Junkanoo in February, so I hope we do this in December. So ladies and gents, keep up the good work.
All right. Yes, Jonathan.
Jonathan?
Johnny. Jonathan must be gone. Okay, next.
I just want to say that it is important that the spirit of Junkanoo that unifies us. And on that note, I wish to say heartfelt gratitude to all persons that participate, leaders, section reps, members of the various sections who put their heart, sweat, and tears out for our fans to enjoy a spectacular show each and every time we touch the road. I want to send a special shout out to my section, OFCD. Thank you, ladies, for allowing me and bringing out what I am now today as a leader. And I hope and I pray that all of us as leaders take the mantle that we are mentors in our sections and in our communities. And it is our job to pass on the traits of respectability and credibility onto our dancers, because they are going to be the ones that are going to fill our shoes and take Junkanoo on to the next level. Good night, all.
Okay.
I want to start by saying again, thank you, and echoing what everyone says, Charmaine, for giving us this opportunity to be here this evening to talk about what we are so passionate about. First and foremost, Junkanoo, and secondly, our ability to dance as choreographed sections within our passion and our love and our culture. I, as a person who's a part of the community beyond just Junkanoo, culturally as well as professionally, I want to encourage all of our Junkanoos to remember that we have to always put our best foot forward in everything that we do. That is not just what we do from the parade standpoint, but it is how we interact not only with sponsors, but people who are interested in having us be a part of their festivities, their events, and everything that we do. One of the challenging things as someone who is in the events industry that we've experienced for many years is the lack of professionalism. And I'm sorry to use that word, but in terms of keeping time, in terms of the look that we present, in terms of our ability to constantly or consistently provide a product that is sustainable, has been a challenge. So if we take this platform and other platforms to transform how it is that we are presenting ourselves at Junkanoo, some of the tables that we may not have been invited to in the past, we can be invited to have the types of conversations that really make a difference and an impact in how our cultural expression is received and also how it goes out to the wider community. I've been in Junkanoo is on the side and now in the forefront now for over 10 years. And I can say that this is something that you can't just do from the sidelines. It is something that you have to get involved in. And I am so grateful for the opportunities that we have as Junkanoos to get involved in our community in a deeper level and pass on the torch to another generation. And in closing, again, I want to thank the ladies of OFCD and then to invite everyone to join our live this Friday, where we are taking choreography to the community and getting people involved in what it is that is our passion. And so just tune in, One Family Choreograph Dancers, 3 p.m. on Friday. It is going to be a great experience. And this isn't something we're doing for us. This is something that we decided to do because we don't have no Labor Day parade. So the start of our season isn't there. And so we wanted people to start feeling that Junkanoo again, because, you know, I see the different chats going and people are, oh, what's going on with Junkanoo? Well, now something's going on with Junkanoo. Let's do something together. And hopefully we continue to respect each other and do things together and not as individual organizations, but as a community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kate. Papa?
Hold on, I think we missed somebody. We missed somebody. Oh, it's my turn. Just checking. Good night, everybody. It's been a pleasure once again, and hey, I just glad to be around a beautiful ladies tonight. Have a good one.
All right, Ming.
Yeah, man. I concur with everything everybody else said. You know, let's come together. Let's change the mindset. Let's do some things, man. We got to come. The only way we could do is we got to come together and make it happen.
Okay, well, again, ladies, I'd like to thank all of you professionally choreographed ladies and leaders of your section. Junkanoo would not be the same.
Fellas choreograph, I miss you know.
Of you. It would not be the same.
I can see you on Friday, right?
Huh?
You'll be there Friday, right?
Listen, let me tell you what's going to happen Friday.
Open invitation for everybody, whether you can choreograph or not.
I beating you all to the punch. You know, 8 o'clock, I the woman could be running live Labor Day parade from the past.
Where can I live stream? Tell me where can I live stream? I'll be there.
Thank you, Keisha.
I like that Junkanoo party. So Labor Day from 2014 straight up to now, gonna be running. Tell you all, come on.
Great.
Keisha, when you get it, send it to me, please, so I can live stream too.
All right. So again,
I will.
Thank you, everybody. And like we said, FIE Junkanoo Rush, feel it. In your
In
belly.
your belly.
In your belly.
Y'all have a good
Charmaine,
night.
where that song is from?
Huh?
Awesome. Kelly, where that originate?